Hello and welcome to the Album Man, and today I'm going to be doing part 2 of my top 50 albums of all time. So this is going to be from 40 to 31. So at number 40 I have Black Country Communion's self-titled debut album. So this is, as I said, the first album from the supergroup Black Country Communion, which, as I said in my previous top 50 thing, it consists of Glenn Hughes, Joe Bonamassa, Jason Bonham, and Derek Sherinian. And I'd say the best tracks on this album, really, One Last Soul, main single. The Great Divide is just fantastic, such great vocal work from Hughes. And Song of Yesterday, which is predominantly sung by Bonamassa and features one of his greatest guitar solos ever. It's a phenomenal album. Oopsie. Okay. Next we have Joe Bonamassa's Dust Bowl. So, as I said, this is the guy who is in Black Country Communion, and this is his newest solo album. It got to number 3 on my top 5 albums of 2011, and features such great songs as Slow Train, The Meaning of the Blues, and The Last Matador Bayonne. Even has a track with Glenn Hughes, which is Heartbreaker. And yeah, I mean, even though it is half covers, I'm not a big fan of bands doing too many covers, but it's done so well. The cover's quite obscure, and it's just done so well. Genius blues album. Okay, now we come to Megadeth's Rust in Peace, which is at, that is at number 38. So, this features, my favourite of their tracks, which is Holy War's The Punishment Due, and I think this is their best album. Things like Rust in Peace, Polaris, and Poison was the key. Just there's so many great songs on this, and this is the remastered version with 4 unreleased bonus tracks, and only one of them is actually like a new track. I think 3 of the others are just demos, but it's such a genius thrash album, and yeah, love it dearly. So then at number 37 we have Echoes, Silence, Patience, Grace by the Foo Fighters. I think this is the Foo Fighters' best album, easily. Things like The Pretender, Come Alive, Long Road to Ruin, Home, A Ways of Play. I could just, go on forever. It's such a strong album. Just things like The Pretender, which start slowly and they just build to... The Pretender really does have one of the greatest choruses of all time. Just builds, and it's just phenomenal. Okay, then we get to number 35, which is AB3 by Alter Bridge. So Alter Bridge is made of the members of Quedes, except for Scott Stapp, who effectively was replaced by Miles Kennedy. And one album, Slip to the Void, Isolation, Ghost of Days Gone By, Fallout, just so many great songs on here. I saw them live on this tour, and they were brilliant, and yeah, it's just such a strong, hard rock, going into metal album. Really good at number 35. So, at number 34, we have Stade's Illusion of Progress. Now, the fans recently voted this album as Stade's worst album ever, but in my opinion, it's Stade's best album. It is lighter Stade, things like The Way I Am, Believe, Pardon Me. They're just phenomenal songs. But Stade fans don't like them because they're not heavy enough. This album is nothing like things like Dysfunction or 14 Shades of Grey and Break the Cycle. It's not like those at all. But I just think it's genius. I saw them supporting Nickelback when they were on this tour, and I saw them in their own right, along with Seether. They just, yeah, it's really strong album, and very underrated. At number 33, we have Quedes, Weathered. So, as I was saying about Alter Bridge consisting of the members of Queed, well, this is my favourite Queed album. Things like Who Got My Back, One Last Breath, Weathered, Hide, it's just, such a strong album. Scott Stapp's voice is brilliant on this, Tremonti's guitar work is brilliant. Everything just comes together perfectly in what I think is Queed's best album. I'm so happy to hear that they've reformed and are going to make a new album this year. So I'm very excited for that. At number 32 is Iron Maiden's Brave New World. Possibly the best comeback album ever. It's the first with Bruce Dickinson, it was the first for quite a while because they did Virtual 11 and some other album with Blaze Blazley after Bruce quit. And when they came back together in 2000 and recorded this, it's just so great. Things like The Wicker Man, Blood Brothers, they still play live to this day. They played a few songs. They played Wicker Man, Ghost and Navigator and Blood Brothers when I went to see them only in August. So they still play songs from this album because it is one of their classic albums and I adore it. Next we have one of the most famous hard rock albums ever, and a classic that every rock fan knows, which is AC/DC's Back in Black at number 32. I don't need to say much about this album. Things like Back in Black, Hell's Bells, Shoot to Thrill, just any song on it. It's 10 tracks of genius. It's got such great riffs from Angus and Malcolm, such great vocals from Brian, and his first album, and their first album after Bon Scott's death with Brian. It really is my favourite AC/DC album, and a classic. And then, unfortunately, I don't have this album with me at the moment, which is number 31, can't find it, and that is Nirvana's Nevermind. The classic grunge album with things like Smells Like Teen Spirit. It really did define them as a band with the iconic album cover, iconic music, and it is wonderful. Dave Grohl's drums, Kek Bain's guitar, even his vocals, and Chris Novakovic's bass. It really just all comes together in what I think is the 31st greatest album of all time. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I will be doing from 30 to 21 next Friday. So see you then. Comment, rate, subscribe. This has been the Album Man. Bye.